Hey, what do you say, weekend warriors? Welcome back. I don't know about you all, but it is cold outside. And for me, that means spicy pork stew is on the menu. It's a creative take on a Korean classic where they use chicken, but I'm gonna use my smoker today. We're gonna use a pork butt, cut it up, get some smoke flavor on it. Then we're gonna braise it in a stew. And as usual, we gotta start a fire. I gotta get some firewood. I'm gonna show you the process, and then we'll get into cooking. And here we are. Smoker is almost up to temperature. You want your smoker to be set around 250 degrees Fahrenheit. And I have a 5-pound pork butt here. You don't need all 5 pounds. Actually, I only need 2 pounds at the most. So what I'm gonna do is find the blade. Here's the blade bone. And I don't wanna have to cut around that, so I'm just gonna cut a chunk right to the outside of that. And this piece here is gonna get frozen, and I can use this for when I wanna do maybe a pulled pork sandwich type of a recipe. So this goes to the side. This piece here, we wanna cut into chunks. If you wanna take the fat cap off, you can, but I'm leaving mine on. And we want about 1-inch chunks. So start with 1-inch slices down. And then once you have them sliced like that, you're gonna come across in 1-inch strips. And then you can basically cut these into 3 pieces. And now it's time, I need some tea. Gotta stay warm out here. This is just black tea. All right, so now with the pork shoulder or pork butt, you wanna season it. I'm just gonna use salt and pepper. Then we're gonna throw it in the smoker. Each of those chunks is gonna pick up smoke flavor, and you wanna cook it until it reaches about 165 degrees Fahrenheit. It's gonna take about 1.5 to 2 hours. But let's get this seasoned real quick, and I'll show you getting it in the smoker. So you don't want to go too heavy here. We're going to have a lot of seasoning in the stew mixture, but we do want to add a little bit of flavor here. So some black pepper and just a light dusting of salt. Get your hands dirty. And we'll mix this all together just to make sure they're all evenly coated. And I'm gonna move it around the board just to pick up anything the wind blew to the sides, so we're not wasting anything. All right. So from here, if your smoker is up to temperature, like I said, 250 degrees Fahrenheit is what I'm shooting for. You can get it right in the smoker. And my smoker is right where I want it. So I'm gonna pull out this center rack. If you haven't watched my videos before with this smoker, I try to keep everything in the front. The back is much hotter, and this allows it to not dry out the meat. I'm gonna get them on, spread them out so that the smoke and hot air touches each piece. And again, the whole idea here is to not let them touch each other. And it's gonna cook much, much quicker than if you were to do a whole pork butt. And then each and every piece gets a little smoke flavor and really adds to the flavor of the stew. All right, so I'm gonna push this in, and we're gonna come back in about an hour and a half or 2 hours when these reach 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Then I'll show you what those are looking like, and we'll move on to the next step. And it's been 1.5 hours. The pork is right where I want it, right at about 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's give you a look. Beautiful color, nice red mahogany color. It's taken on a lot of smoke flavor. Still nice and tender. So I'm gonna take these out of the smoker and we're gonna move on to the next step. And all we're doing, we're gonna peel some carrots. I'm gonna use 3. Get the outer layer off. Then you're gonna do the same thing with 2 or 3 russet potatoes. And you want to cut these into a large dice. Same thing with the potatoes. The bigger the better. You want them to soak up all this awesome broth we're gonna make. Then you're gonna take a whole onion. This is gonna be a large dice as well. Peel the skin off. I'm gonna go in half this way. There we go, big chunks. And then the last, but certainly not the least, is some garlic. 3 cloves of garlic. Get the skins off. And then I'm going to cut these up a little bit smaller. And now what I'm going to do, you could do this on your stovetop if you wanted. I'm using what's called a Tao Burner. This is a clay pot. It burns charcoal. Since I'm outside and I'm already using charcoal and wood in my smoker, I just borrow some from the firebox, put it in there. Now we can heat up my Dutch oven. And to that, I'm gonna add 3 or 4 cups of chicken broth. This is a 48-ounce container, so you go about half of this or more. And now a 1/4 cup of Gochujang. This is a spicy Korean pepper paste. A 1/4 cup of honey powder, or you could just use regular honey. So we're going to make a real nice sweet and heat broth. About 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. And now I'm going to add in all the vegetables, so the onions, the potatoes, the carrots and the garlic. Gonna stir this all in and bring it up to a low boil. And let's see how we're doing. There we go. Just want to give the vegetables a little bit of a head start. That's looking good, smelling good. And from here, what we're gonna do is put this back into the smoker to finish cooking. No lid, I'm keeping it open air. What happens, you get kind of an equilibrium cook. You have heat from the sides, the top, and the bottom. Equal heat instead of just the bottom. And then as the smoke and heat mixes around in the smoke chamber, it's going to brown the tops and add extra flavor. It's a little tip I picked up from Kenji Lopez Alt. And into the smoker she goes. We're gonna let this cook until the potatoes are nice and soft and that meat gets tender, which is probably gonna take about an hour to 2 hours. Smoker is still at 250 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's close it up. I'm gonna come back in 1 hour to check it for salt and pepper. The reason I do it 1 hour later is all the salt and pepper from the pork is gonna mix now, and I don't wanna over season it. So if I seasoned it now, I have no idea how it's gonna taste once the salt and pepper from the pork falls off. So that's when I'll check it. If I have to change anything, I'll show you. Otherwise, we're gonna come back when this is done and give it a taste. And it's been 1 hour since I put this in the smoker. Just gonna pull it out here so you can see it. It's looking really good. And I'm just gonna give it a quick taste test. See if it needs anything else. Oh, is that good? It doesn't need a thing. Perfect balance of sweet and heat. The soy sauce gave it enough salt. See these potatoes, still pretty firm. So I'd say we've got maybe a half hour to an hour to go. And I'll be back when it's ready. And here we are. So it took roughly 2 hours back in the smoker at 250 degrees Fahrenheit. That was to get the juice to reduce down a little bit, make sure those potatoes were nice and tender. The same with the pork shoulder. And look at that. Beautiful, beautiful stew. All those juices in there are intentional. If you wanted, you could reduce it down even more. That juice goes so good over rice, which I'm going to show you in a minute. But look at that. Man. So let me show you how I like to serve this. I have a bowl of white rice. I'm gonna make sure I get some carrots, some potatoes, a lot of the juice and onions, and of course, some pork shoulder. And then I'm going to garnish it with some green onions. And then a few drops of sesame seed oil. This stuff is awesome. Goes great on soup and stew instead of the actual sesame seeds. Oh man, that smells good. Here we go. Let me get a bite. I'm gonna start with a piece of the pork. This turned out absolutely amazing. It's spicy, it's sweet. It's not too spicy though. It's not gonna make you sweat, or at least not me. Just enough to warm you up on a cold winter's day.